Welcome to one of the most jaw-dropping sagas in automotive history. Richard Rawlings, the iconic figure behind Fast and Loud and the founder of Gas Monkey Garage, has just endured a life-altering moment inside a federal courtroom. A stunning legal decision has left him emotionally devastated in front of a silent courtroom audience. What led to this dramatic fall? What secrets lay beneath the surface of this high-octane empire? And can Gas Monkey Garage withstand the fallout of this seismic revelation? Stay with us as we delve into every shocking detail. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss our next explosive update. Let's dive in. A courtroom moment that sent shockwaves across the nation unfolded in Courtroom 4A of the Northern District of Texas. The atmosphere was suffocating with suspense as Judge Eleanor Simmons reviewed her notes before delivering the verdict. For 4 tense hours, a chilling silence loomed. Richard Rawlings sat motionless. His usual confident grin had vanished. His once slicked hair looked disheveled, and his black shirt appeared crumpled, bearing the strain of weeks spent in trial. When Judge Simmons finally broke the silence, her verdict cut through the air with cold precision. The jury found Richard Rawlings guilty on every count. The court sentenced him to 15 years in federal prison, with no parole possible for the first decade. As additional penalties were read, restitution and financial damages exceeding $26 million, something within Rawlings visibly shattered. His attorney, James Westfield, later described hearing a strange combination of heavy gasps and muffled groans before Rawlings suddenly slumped forward. Courtroom sketch artist Moran Decca described the scene as surreal. One moment he was frozen, almost statuesque. The next he collapsed. His face slammed into the desk, then he slid to the ground, she said. The sound of his fall triggered chaos. Westfield immediately called for medical assistance as federal officers evacuated the room. Journalists painted vivid accounts. Rawlings' ex-wife clasped her mouth in shock. Longtime friend Dennis Collins attempted to approach but was quickly intercepted by security. Paramedics labored urgently for nearly 7 minutes before Rawlings came to, dazed and pale. He was escorted out, not in handcuffs, but strapped to a stretcher with an oxygen mask across his face. Raymond Wilkins, a veteran courthouse security official with nearly 3 decades of experience, remarked, "Fame, or not, when a sentence like that hits and you realize your life is over as you know it, something in people just breaks." This collapse marked the conclusion of an intense 3-week legal battle that riveted both the car enthusiast community and television audiences. For over 10 years, Richard Rawlings had been welcomed into households as a larger-than-life personality. But behind the scenes, a far darker story was unraveling. The investigation into Rawlings' business practices began quietly in late 2023 when a standard IRS audit identified troubling inconsistencies in the financial records of Gas Monkey Garage. What initially appeared to be basic accounting errors soon escalated into something far more sinister. The red flags were typical of what we often see in celebrity audits, explained Martina Suarez, a former IRS investigator who closely tracked the case. Though not directly involved, she noticed several worrying patterns: questionable debt forgiveness, murky overlaps between personal and corporate expenses, and offshore accounts that didn't add up. But the true shock came when federal prosecutors uncovered what they labeled one of the most complex VIN vehicle identification number fraud schemes in automotive history. Court records allege that Rawlings orchestrated a widespread, systematic alteration of VINs on dozens of classic cars, sold through Gas Monkey Garage and its associated entities over nearly 8 years. Prosecutors presented compelling evidence that many high-value vehicles showcased on Fast and Loud were actually ordinary classic cars, rebadged and accompanied by forged documentation to appear as rare, highly collectible models. Jurors were shown side-by-side images comparing authentic rare muscle cars with the ones allegedly doctored by Rawlings' team. Automotive experts explained subtle discrepancies, details only veteran collectors would recognize. Some vehicles were so meticulously modified that they mimicked original factory builds and were sold to unsuspecting buyers for hundreds of thousands, more than their actual market value. One of the prosecution's most damning pieces of evidence came from the show itself. Clips were played showing Rawlings gushing over unicorn cars, ultra-rare finds collectors dream of. These videos were juxtaposed with expert testimony emphasizing how statistically improbable it would be to locate that many rare vehicles in such a short time. Things took a darker turn when Assistant U.S. Attorney Caroline Morales held a press conference revealing Rawlings had not only sold falsified vehicles, he had gone so far as to create elaborate fictional histories for them. These included fake documentation sophisticated enough to deceive even elite collectors. The most severe charges related to selling these altered cars across state and national borders, invoking federal wire fraud statutes, offenses carrying heavy sentencing guidelines. Rawlings's celebrity status was used as a powerful marketing tool in the scam. Prosecutors argued that his television presence lent false legitimacy to the vehicles. One of the most critical revelations came from 3 former Gas Monkey employees. They testified about a hidden section of the garage, off limits during filming, where vines were allegedly manipulated using advanced machinery. Prosecutor Daniel Keller emphasized this point in his closing statement. What started as a genuine restoration shop became the perfect front for inflating the value of vehicles through deception. The defense attempted to portray Rawlings as a passionate car enthusiast who made mistakes in verifying vehicles, never intending to mislead anyone. Defense attorney Westfield insisted that debates over a classic car's authenticity were common in the industry and should not be criminalized. He argued that Rawlings had too much to lose to orchestrate a fraud of this scale, but the jury wasn't convinced. After 6 hours of deliberation, they found him guilty on all 18 counts, including mail fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy, and tax evasion. This wasn't just a legal setback. It was a complete dismantling of the public persona Rawlings had so carefully cultivated. The case painted a disturbing picture. A fraudulent operation embedded within legitimate sales, methodically upgrading common vehicles into falsely rare ones using a blend of skilled craftsmanship and forged paperwork. In one striking example, a 1969 Dodge Charger, worth $75,000, was allegedly reworked into an ultra-rare RT variant with a 426 Hemi engine, fetching nearly $300,000. Prosecutors claimed Rawlings made millions using this strategy, raking in more than $14 million across roughly 40 cars. What ultimately doomed the operation was Rawlings' growing ambition. As his fame ballooned, he began targeting higher-value cars. That attracted scrutiny from seasoned collectors, leading to red flags that couldn't be ignored. The unraveling began when a wealthy European collector purchased what was claimed to be a 1967 Shelby GT500 with unique factory upgrades and racing history for a staggering $1.2 million. But when he tried to insure it, the verification process exposed a devastating truth. The car was just a standard Mustang, albeit a beautifully customized one, worth around $180,000. Testifying via video, the collector expressed his dismay. "I trusted Rawlings because of his show. I believed I was purchasing a slice of history. Instead, I got a high-end forgery." The prosecution's most conclusive evidence came from Rawlings's own digital correspondence, emails and calls in which he assured the buyer of the car's authenticity. These formed the core of the wire fraud charges. As the trial continued, it became clear how intricate the scam had become. What began with simple modifications evolved into full-blown fabrication, aging parts to mimic original wear, sourcing, period-correct components, and even forging documents like factory build sheets and dealer invoices using advanced printing tools. This isn't just fraud, it's automotive forgery at an unprecedented level, said Prosecutor Keller. We're talking about creating a false history down to the last bolt. The fallout reverberated throughout the industry. Classic car verification experts warned that trust in the provenance of high-value collectibles had been shaken. Auction houses began re-authenticating vehicles with ties to Rawlings and Gas Monkey Garage. The consequences were immediate. Discovery Network distanced itself, pulling all Fast and Loud episodes from streaming. A company statement read, "We are profoundly disappointed. We take the integrity of our programming and contributors seriously and are reviewing all episodes for potential misrepresentation." Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, the restaurant chain Rawlings launched, also announced a rebrand. Within hours of the verdict, locations removed Gas Monkey signage and merchandise. The company's website and social media vanished, replaced by a brief legal statement announcing an operational shutdown pending legal resolution. The automotive world, once loyal to Rawlings, swiftly turned its back. Scheduled appearances were canceled. Magazines scrubbed archives of related content. Even longtime friend Dennis Collins issued a somber statement, expressing concern for Rawlings's health, but notably avoiding any claims of innocence.